My mother-in-law said in front of the family that I was not good enough for her son. Everyone stayed silent, but when an old photograph came to light, everyone realized their mistake. My mother-in-law told everyone that I was not good enough for her son. The entire family sat there in silence, and I remained in my chair because I knew that one day the truth would speak for itself. But I never imagined that an old photograph would appear and force the same people who saw my silence as weakness to lower their eyes in regret. That day is still clear in my mind. It was my wedding anniversary and we were all gathered at my in-laws' house. The backyard of their suburban home was decorated with soft lights, food covered the dining table and laughter filled the room. But among all that laughter, there was a strange silence inside me, because I knew another test in my life was about to begin. My mother-in-law Carol had always had her own opinion about me. She believed her son James deserved someone who matched her standards. In the beginning, I tried everything to build a better relationship with her. I brought her gifts, helped her whenever she needed me and spent time with her. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try to earn someone's acceptance, they have already decided who you are. I met James in Boston. He was calm, kind, and thoughtful. We had our first coffee together at a small diner and I still remember him saying, "The thing I love most about you is that you always think about others before yourself." Maybe that was the very thing Carol never appreciated. After we got married, I paused my career for a while so I could build a new life with James. I took care of our home, supported his parents, and tried to keep the family connected. From Thanksgiving dinners to our Sunday Target trips, I became part of every tradition. But deep inside, I always felt like I was trying to prove that I belonged. Then that moment came. Carol looked at me in front of everyone and said, "I always thought James would end up with someone better. You may be a good person, but you are not good enough for my son." The room went completely silent. James' relatives remained seated at the table. No one said anything. No one stopped her. No one defended me. I looked at James. Maybe I hoped he would say something. Maybe he would stand up for me and tell his mother she was wrong. But he just sat there quietly. Something inside me didn't break at that moment. Something became clear. For the first time, I understood that sometimes the deepest pain doesn't come from words. It comes from silence. That night I went back to my room. It was 3 a.m. The glow from the streetlights came through the window. The entire house was quiet. A late-night show played softly on the television in the background, almost as if it understood my loneliness. My sleeping pills were sitting on the table. The doctor had suggested them when stress became overwhelming. But that night my mind was filled with too many thoughts for sleep to come. I walked into the kitchen. The refrigerator light became my companion just like it had on so many other lonely nights. I poured myself some water, then turned on the coffee machine. The sound took me back to old memories. I remembered all the times I had sacrificed my happiness for James' family. The days I visited them even when I wasn't feeling well. The moments when I respected Carol like she was my own mother, only to hear that I still wasn't enough. The next morning I went to Starbucks. Sitting by the window with my coffee, I asked myself something I had never asked before. When did I start forgetting my own worth just to earn someone else's approval? That same day I received a phone call. It was from my father-in-law, Robert. He said, "I need to talk to you. I have something you need to see." I was confused. That evening he came to my house and handed me an old photo album. Inside was a picture that was almost 20 years old. I looked at the photograph, and I froze. The picture showed a young Carol working with children at a small community center. Standing beside her was a little girl, a child Carol had helped during one of the hardest times in her life. That little girl was me. I suddenly remembered. After my mother passed away when I was young, Carol was the woman who helped me for a while. She gave me books to read, prepared meals for me, and told me that one day I would achieve great things. But over time, those memories had disappeared somewhere in the past. Robert looked at me and said, "Carol remembers everything, but she is afraid to accept that the person she looks down on today was once the same person who needed her kindness." That photograph was not just an old memory. It was a mirror. The next day when the family gathered again, I placed the photograph in front of everyone. I didn't blame anyone. I didn't complain. I simply said, sometimes we judge people by who they are today and we forget the role they once played in our lives. Tears filled Carol's eyes. For the first time she held my hand and said, "I was wrong." Those words came years too late, but I no longer carried anger in my heart. because by then I had finally understood that my value was not decided by someone accepting me or rejecting me. After that moment, our relationship slowly began to change. Everything didn't become perfect overnight, but the truth had finally started doing its work. I started a small business in Seattle, made time for the things I loved, began meeting friends at diners again, and reminded myself that I was not only someone's wife or daughter-in-law, I was a person with my own identity. Today, when I remember that night, I don't feel pain anymore. I only remember the lesson it taught me. I learned that respect is not something you beg for. It comes when you recognize your own worth. After that night, I never tried to prove anyone wrong. I simply chose to rebuild myself. When the morning light entered my room, I realized a long night had finally ended. The world outside was the same, but something inside me had changed. I closed my eyes and thought, I no longer needed to prove that I was worthy. I was enough. A new day had arrived, and with it came a new me. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this emotional story. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the importance of kindness, respect, and understanding, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Your support truly means a lot and helps us continue sharing meaningful stories with you.